All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with another 49er video. And big thanks to Jurens.com, our good friends over at Jurens Distributing Company, for partnering with the Krug Show. And if you're looking for top quality cocktail mixes, garnishes, and kitchen essentials with the absolute lowest prices, Jurens.com is the place to go. They've been a trusted name in the industry. They've been serving Sacramento and their finest restaurants there and bars and casinos for over 50 years. And now they can serve you directly. Check out Jurens' website at Jurens.com, Jurins.com, and use the promo code Krug at checkout. All right, let's talk a little bit about the 49ers and Steve Wilks, Niners' first-year defensive coordinator. The Niners are one of only two undefeated teams in the NFL, and the Niner offense is averaging over 30 points per game. And Steve Wilks' defense has been not hardly disappointing. They're allowing 14 and a half points per game. So what does that mean? It means the 49ers are winning most games by multiple scores. And the Niner defense has allowed this year thus far 264 rushing yards. So they're giving up 66 rushing yards per game, 873 passing yards, 218.2 passing yards per game, 284 total yards per game. They've generated 97 pressures, 19 hits on the quarterback, 69 quarterback hurries, and are ranked ninth in the NFL with a 50% pass rush win rate, according to ESPN. Now, what's the issue? Is there an issue? I mean, you're giving up 14 and a half points a game. That seems like a pretty good number. You'd say, hey, Krug, there is no issue. The discussion around the Niners as far as their defensive questions, it's the lack of sacks that the defensive line has produced. They only have 9 total sacks in 4 games. And the defense also has 5 interceptions. Now, last season, as the defense coordinator / interim head coach in Carolina, Steve Wilks' Panthers defense played zone 64% of the time, which was 5th most in the NFL. And they had a 45% success rate, which was 12th in the NFL. The defense was in man coverage only 21% of the time, which was 28th in the NFL. They didn't play a lot of man coverage in Carolina under Wilks last year. And, basically they played, 79% zone, 15% other. And the majority of the zone coverage was single high safety looks, either cover 1 or cover 3. And, Wilks' defense also blitzed last year 31% of the time, which was the 9th highest figure in the entire NFL. Now, this season for the Niners, Wilks' defense is in zone 67% of the time, against 24% in man coverage. And the difference, if you look at some of the numbers, the blitz rate has been down. That number is down to 22%. The Niners only their blitz rate is 22%, is 21st in the NFL. So they're going with a 4-man rush 77% of the time, which is 9th most in the NFL. And the blitz has seen a success rate of 37%. That's good for 4th in the league. So they're going with 4 when he's blitzing, and they're not blitzing a lot. Their success rate with their blitzes has been very, very good. So you could look at this and say, well, what's the problem? The problem really is that the 49ers were getting last year between Charles Omenihu, Jordan Willis, and Samson Ebukam. Those 3 guys were playing a lot of snaps. They averaged 91 snaps per game in the playoffs. And they rushed the passer a lot better than the Niners' backups are rushing the passer this year. So Bosa is getting home, but not at the rate that you would expect for a guy who had 18 and a half sacks last year. Drake Jackson had 3 sacks in week 1. He's been quiet ever since. Cleveland Farrell and Kerry Hyder, their backup defensive ends, do not sack the quarterback basically at all. So that's really a problem. And that's where I think Steve, is he going to blitz more to get pass rush later in the year? God forbid they ever suffer an injury to Bosa and have to play a game or 2 without him. But that's how fragile the 49er defensive equation is right now. They don't have the depth at defensive end. They took that money that they gave to Ebukam and Omenihu and Willis, and they paid Javon Hargrave. So now they've got phenomenal talent in the middle of their defense. They're getting great pass rush up the middle from Armstead and from Hargrave and Kinlaw and Givens. And, their guys up front are getting it done inside, but they're not really sacking the quarterback off the edge. And they really could use another edge rusher, or at least more edge speed, maybe a little bit more dynamic player. They have Robert Beal Jr. On the IR, and he could come back later this year, and he could provide some of that speed. But Jackson, Farrell, and Hyder have only 8 combined quarterback hits in 4 games in 243 pass rush snaps. So that's really the issue. Steve's done a great job with timely blitzes. They've done a great job of, for the most part, getting pressure with 4. They haven't exposed themselves to big plays behind it. But as the season wears on, they need Drake Jackson, Cleveland Farrell, and Kerry Hyder to give them hits on the quarterback, or they need a better player off the edge in addition to what they have. So if you say, man, it's a great defense. It is a great defense. I think they're better on the back end. Oliver's played well. Lenore's played well. God knows Greenlaw and Warner are playing at a really, really high level. The Niners are getting exceptional play inside from Kinlaw and Hargrave and Armstead. But what's the weakness? The weakness is, can they rush the passer beyond Nick Bosa? Beyond Nick Bosa off the edge, can the Niners develop a pass rush? And then when you look at those numbers and you see that Jackson and Farrell and Hyder have 8 combined quarterback hits in 4 games, and then you look, they've played 243 snaps, pass rush snaps. 8 hits on the quarterback is not enough. That's not going to get it done. And they need to look for additional upgrades at defensive end. Now, is Randy Gregory the answer, who was cut this week by the Denver Broncos? Gregory does have 4 quarterback hits in 73 pass rush snaps. I don't know if he's the answer, or if they have to sign a Melvin Ingram or a veteran off the street, if they have to poach a young pass rusher from somebody's practice squad. But I think it's safe to say that, they need more. They need more, and that's the issue. Drake Jackson had 3 sacks in week 1, but 9 of the 11 pressures that he has gotten came in the first 2 games. So over the last 2 games, he's gotten 2 pressures total. That's not enough. And then Farrell is solid against the run, but not very dynamic against the pass. And Kerry Hyder's even less dynamic. So the number one issue for the 49ers and Steve Wilks, I don't think there's any question. It's the fact that they need more edge rush depth. They need a more dynamic speed rusher off the edge to play opposite Nick Bosa. All right, thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. Great barbecue, the best you're going to see in all of Northern California, the best you're going to eat. Get the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Krug sent you. And also brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. And check the link in the description. Make sure you use the promo code Krug and get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. And thanks for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.